This is an airport course. These 2-liter cars will tackle the high-speed corners, and they'll reach speeds of over 142 miles an hour. This is the challenge of Wunstorf. And this is the man everyone's chasing, Aiello, the points leader. His nearest challenger, Winkelhock, 4 races he's won in a row. And the defending champ, Manuel Pirro, still looking for his first victory. This is the Super Touring Car Cup, today coming to you from Wunstorf, Germany. Hello everyone, this is Milt Fitzwater reporting, and welcome to Wunstorf, a great crowd on hand here in northern Germany for this airport circuit race. 28 cars ready to go in the first of the 2 events that make up a Super Touring Car Cup weekend. On the pole position, Aiello. It's his 3rd sprint pole of the season. He got his times in early and no one could catch him.
It was not so easy because this morning the car was not too good. I was complaining with the steering problem and also with braking problem, so we changed the diff. So I think that was the point. I think that was the problem we had this morning.
Aiello's teammate, Jorg van Omen, is on the outside pole. He's in his first season in the car, and he seems to have finally gotten used to driving the Peugeot.
I feel more confident in the car, of course, because I learned the car more to use now. And now it's the half of the season, and I'm now there where I wanted to be. And so I hope that the rest of the season will become good.
In 3rd position, Alzen in the Opel. He's continually improving. Opel hopes he can continue that move. And next to him, Winkelhock, the man chasing the title leader, Aiello. Opel comes into the weekend after having a disastrous time at the Nürburgring. They had to rebuild several cars after that weekend, and now things look like they are working for them here.
We lost 3 cars, and it was a very hard work for our mechanics to rebuild the cars. And now we are very happy to stay here with the 3rd place as our best result in the practice in this year. And I'm very, very happy about this.
And there's the course here in Wunstorf. It promises to be a tough one, even though it is an airport course. Airport courses some people don't like, and some do.
Ja, ich mag es, weil man muss sehr exakt fahren. Man darf sich
I like it a whole lot because you have to drive very precisely. You have to be very, very careful when you drive out because there's going to be the markers for the airport and you can hit those. And even though it doesn't look like it, it does have a lot from a street course that has a lot of guardrails. You have to drive very precisely. Now, racing on an airport course has its moments, but turning an airport course into a race course also has its moments.
Guten Morgen, Herr Leiter der Streckensicherung.
Ali Schatz, the man on the left, is the one who directs this all.
Man kommt hierher, hat eine glatte Wiese.
You come here and you have an open field, and the promoter has to build it up.
Auf einer permanenten Rennstrecke
A permanent course doesn't have any problems with safety because it's checked throughout the year and it's used throughout the year.
Here
we have 3 days to build it all up, and then we have to tear it down in 2 days. And the safety precautions have to be just as good as any permanent course. There is a large and willing crew on hand, but because it's hastily built, there can be problems. Then again, that's all part of the job. The more people, the more mistakes, and that means we have to be here early in order to work out those problems, if not totally eliminate them in the first place. Ali Schatz, the man that makes it all work. And now, it's time to go racing, here in Wunstorf, the sprint race. On the left, Aiello. On the right, his teammate, Jorg van Omen. And we're ready to go. This first race has been cut down to 8 laps because of a problem on the original first start. So we're going to have 8 laps of racing in the sprint race, and look at Aiello get the jump. What a great start, and with a miserable start for Jorg van Omen. He had started on the 2nd position. He's dropped all the way back to 9th place. He is in trouble in a short race. We have a car spinning back in the pack, one of the Audis. We head into the first chicane, and then it's a long run straight to the next left-hander. Let's see if everybody gets through the chicane all right. Aiello, the man everyone knows they have to beat, is out there in front and proving once again his car is the one you have to take on if you want to win in the Super Touring Car Cup. The rest of the field sorting itself out very nicely. Now comes a very difficult corner. It's wide open. That is Muller's car, the Audi with the smoke coming out of it. It's a wide entrance to the curb, and then it narrows down to this segment. There is another left-hander, and now they'll work through a series of short curves into the very fast part of the course. There's an uphill portion. You take it wide open, and then it's all the way down here, straight ahead with a short bend, but you still have your foot to the floor. You're riding with Jörg van Omen, back in 9th place after qualifying second. He's got a long haul ahead of him. Johnny Cecotto is the man in front of him here. So you come down the hill, you go up here, and this is the fastest part of the course, up over 140 miles an hour. Then you make the right-hand bend, which brings you back down the main runway and toward the pit area. Now here is a chicane. If you go to the right, you go to the pit area. When you take the chicane, you continue out onto the front straightaway in front of the pit area. Those are basically the two big turns, the chicanes. Other than that, it's wide open and then a very tough left-hander as you head out onto the course. Here you see Kurt Thiim in the Opel. Boy, he's had a fight all season long, and look at that, he's right up there in the top group of cars here today. In fact, he is running 4th right now, and he cuts inside and holds on to it as he gets by Alfred Hager. Great move by Kurt Thiim. He was literally thrown into the car at the beginning of the season when Klaus Ludwig decided not to drive for Opel. And here comes Müller into the pits. Ivan Müller has problems. He was involved in that spin on the very first corner. So Laurent Aiello, the man out in front, take another look at that. There's Müller's car spinning. Evidently got bumped somewhere in there. Now they had to come to the pits and get it worked out. He's the only Audi in the field with a front wheel drive. You get another look at it. It's very hard to see what happened, mainly because there's such a traffic jam there. Looks like his was the only car that was damaged enough that they had to go to the pits. Next year, everybody's going to pretty much have to have the front wheel drive. There's Kurt Thiim from Denmark. Last year in the International Touring Car Championship, this year in the Super Touring Car Cup. Here comes Van Omen. He wants to move up a slot. It looks like he has. He's picked up one position here. He's got a long way to go to get to the front, though. A very long way. And he doesn't get it. Johnny Cecotto comes right back underneath him and takes the position back. So it looks like Jörg van Omen in the Peugeot has a lot of work cut out for him here today to move up in this field. And Cecotto, who is in the points race, in fact had led it at one point, is 3rd in the points race, cannot afford to finish behind his teammate Joachim Winkelhock, who actually is in front of him right now. This is an internal battle for the BMW team. Right now, look at that train, led by Kurt Thiim from Denmark, running extremely well here. Right behind him is Marco Werner and then Alfred Hager, both in Hondas. They also qualified quite well. Marco Werner has proven to be a very strong driver for the Honda team. Once again, you're riding with Jörg van Omen as we go into that chicane, the first one on the long straight, headed toward the back corner here in Wunstorf, Germany. The cars have sorted themselves out pretty well here so far. We haven't had any real problems except for that spin early, and now everybody just is settling in. Of course, the object is to win, and it's also an object is to get the car through. You can't afford to fall out anywhere. You're riding with Jörg van Omen, watching a man at work on a Sunday afternoon. So he wants to try once again to see if he can get by Johnny Cecotto, but it will not be easy. Is he going to try again and slipstreaming? Let's see what happens here. No, it doesn't look like he's going to make it here. He's just going to have to bide his time and see what he can do. Someone went wide. It looks like Christian Menzel went wide. And everybody got by him. Now, is Jörg going to be able to get by? He is. There you see Jörg right there, getting by Christian Menzel in the BMW, the young 26-year-old who has surprised everybody with how strong he is this season. The top rookie in the field, that's for sure. Here you're riding with Klaus Niedzwitz and his Audi. He's back in the pack-aways. Bartels is behind him in the Opel. Actually, Bartels is pulling up very close as they come through. Heading out once again in the long straight before that first chicane. A lot of runoff area here, but the problem is there are still some small parts of the landing lights that stick up a bit, and if the car gets too far off, you can hit those and that'll throw the car off for sure, or it can damage the front spoiler, which happened in practice a couple of times. There you see the Needsvid's car, and right behind him, Bartel's car. Then comes Christian Abt in the Audi. That is the leading independent team championship leader. They've done extremely well. A couple of times early in the season, they finished ahead of the factory Audis. Not quite that way in the last few races, though, as the factory Audis continue to improve. Get a good look at the cars back in the field. There's the Nissan. And it spins. Sascha Maassen spun, and it looks like he did it all by himself. Something might be wrong with the car, but he's off the course. The young Nissan driver has also done quite well for himself in a car that is actually being developed for next year. And once again, you're riding with Jorg van Omen, and this time van Omen gets by Johnny Cecotto. How about that? Alfred Hager now tries to move up on Cecotto. Is he going to be able to make it? This is very tight here. And it's a left-hander coming up. Cecotto will have the line, and he'll take it. And unless Hager can cut inside, he won't have problems. Look at that. Christian Menzel did cut inside and slipped past Alfred Hager. Let's see what happened here with Maassen. Something locked up. Something must have locked up in the car, and he simply spun and went off the course. Lucky nobody hit him. Meanwhile, the rest of the field sorts itself out very, very nicely. Thiim still running there very nicely in fourth place. Some of the lovely fans watching the racing today. Your top five right now, Aiello, and then comes Winkelhock, and then comes Uwe Alzen, the Opel driver. So you have a Peugeot, you have a BMW, and then you have an Opel. And here comes Maassen's car. Evidently, he was able to get it going, and he's bringing it into the pits to get it checked. The Nissan crew will go to work. Once again, we're looking back in the pack. It's a battle between Hager and Menzel. Hager got by him again. So the young Christian Menzel has his hands full here in Wunstorf. Back along the straightaway, headed up again toward the start-finish line through the chicane that divides things up before pit road, or you go down the front straight. The leader, Aiello, has many memories of this place. He had one of his best races ever, he says, when he fought back from the back of the field last year to finish in the top five. But he also had in qualifying last year, he put his car on the roof. So he's had many memories of the airport course here in Wunstorf. But right now he's way out in front leading the pack, and everyone else, as here, are trying to catch up, including Manuel Reuter in the Opel. He's had an up-and-down season, and he certainly would like to do a lot better than he's done, but so has Opel in general. And he's putting the pressure now on Christian Menzel. Reuter was running 10th, but now is trying to work his way forward. It looks like he's not going to be able to make it. We'll have to wait and see. He had a problem and slipped back. So Menzel gets a little bit of a breathing room here. The rest of the field has pretty much sorted itself out. Alfred Hager still would like to put the pressure on Menzel, but he's going to have his work cut out for him. Menzel right now is running 8th. There's a trio right there. Menzel, Hager, and then comes Reuter. Behind them is Roland Asch in the Nissan, the second Nissan. Once again with Jorg van Omen. He's moved up now to 6th place after that disastrous start, which dropped him from 2nd all the way back to 9th. So he's become somewhat respectable. But this race is very, very short. It's only 8 laps today, so it's very, very hard to move up a great number of positions. Once again, Thiim, you see him running 4th. Then comes Marco Werner. That's where the battle is right now. As Marco Werner in the Honda is trying to hold off Jorg van Olmen in the battle for 5th place. Your leaders, still again, just to go through very quickly, Aiello has led from the very start of the race, and Joachim Winkelhock has been in 2nd place the entire time, and the Uwe Alzen in the Opel has been running 3rd in the Opel for the entire race. Alzen's car came back into the pits once again. Must be some sort of major problems. Missed the battle still back there for 8th place, as you see young Christian Menzel in that quartet that's following him. It's interesting, Menzel 26 years old, and then comes Hager, Reuter, and Asch, 3 of the veterans of the series, very experienced veterans and all great drivers. So you can see how well the 26-year-old is doing here in his BMW. And he does not have quite the same type of equipment as Joachim Winkelhock and Johnny Cecotto has. It's a little bit older, not quite as up to date, and he's still running extremely well. Here comes Jorg van Olmen. He's working on Marco Werner in the Honda, but time is running out. He's going to have to do something if he wants to try to get by him, but looks like it's going to get very, very tight here. Get a good view of that chicane, which leads them down toward the start-finish line. But there's Thiim, Marco Werner, and Jorg van Olmen. 4th, 5th, and 6th. While the rest of the field is pretty much settled in. Van Olmen tried, but he couldn't do it. Van Olmen tried to sneak inside, but there was no room, and Hager held on to position. Thiim, really, when he started in the Super Touring Car Cup, as we mentioned, he was just thrown in there. He came in a day before the race, jumped in the car. He had never driven it before, never tested, never done anything with it. In fact, he had been not sure he was going to have a ride this season at all. And so the first 3 or 4 events of the season were strictly tests for him, which was very difficult for him. He's not used to running that far back in the pack. That is Chris Nissen coming in with the Abt Audi. That is the teammate of Christian Abt, who we saw a little bit earlier. Actually, Jorg van Olmen was in the same position as Kurt, except he had a chance to test before the season started. And he got into a car that was already very, very competitive. Kurt got into a car that was still developing. The Opel crew has worked very, very hard this season to make the car competitive, because when they opened up the season, they certainly were not. But now they are. Uwe Alzen is proving it. So is Thiim. Right now, they're going to be happy if that's the way they could finish, because you would not expected a couple of races ago that the Opel would be that strong. But here comes the man, Aiello, unchallenged once again. He's having an amazing season as he takes the checkered flag here in Wunstorf in the first race of the day, the sprint event. Great day for Peugeot and a surprising one for BMW.
Well, I think what we worked was to try reliability and to have advantage we always had. Good in braking, turn in, acceleration out of the corner. If we lose a little bit on the straight, doesn't matter. We'll do better. I hope that with the distance, our tires will be better than the opposition. So we are very motivated. Joe is doing very good. Let's hope for the second race to be on one place in front.
There they are, Peugeot, BMW, Opel, Honda, and Peugeot for Opel. It's the second time this season that they've come in third. It's still their best finish so far. Of course, for Thiim, it's a wonderful finish for him. He has not had quite that season at all. Honda still with a good finish, but Marco Werner probably has some more. He just hasn't been able to find it yet to make himself totally competitive. And, of course, Jorg van Olmen, a bad start and came back. But the winner, Aiello.
Well, the car was not too good. But I think the other also had a little bit of problems in comparison with this morning. I was a little bit more on the steering, but now it's a lot hotter than this morning. So I would like to make something between the two races, because I had a little understeering problem, and I don't like that.
Someone else that has to be happy, Joachim Winkelhock. He surprised everybody. He thought he was underpowered, And then, for all the fans, he came in right up with the leader.
The result was much better than we expected, and so I must say I'm very happy about the second in the sprint race. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we have a chance in the main race, which is 100 kilometer, and because for our car it's a little bit easier, the tire consumption, and so we see.
So now the tires are being worked on. They get 10 tires for the entire weekend for qualifying and for racing. And as they go to work, it gives us a chance to give you a look at one of the drivers here in the field. Audi driver Ivan Muller has two jobs here: race to win and then test the new front-wheel drive system for Audi, a system all cars are supposed to have in the future.
For the moment you have still a lot of work, that's why I do all the tests, I do all the race, so it's a big job, but it's my job. But then we learn, because Audi has not a lot of experience, me too, with the front-wheel drive, and we know well the four-wheel drive, so we need to work, and we prepare the future with this car.
Muller won the French Touring Car Championship in 1995. It's his first season in this series. And despite his dual job, he does have some definite goals in mind.
For me, I think it's important to win, of course, but what I like in racing is to work and to progress with the car. So for me, it's a challenge to arrive with a new car and to progress, and then maybe on the end of the year, or maybe for next year, to win with the car. That is a victory for me too, if we can do that.
Also hoping for victory was Uwe Alzen, but he has a different way to put out a fire in the back of his car. He had a great first race. Hope it hasn't damaged the car for the future. But it's an interesting extinguishing method, isn't it? Here's the Honda of Marco Werner. It did very well, but Werner knows there's still some areas that have to be worked on if they're going to get better.
Ja, ich denke mal so im Mid-Corner-Bereich und im Ausgang
I think in the mid-corner area and also the exit for the corners,
also das ist der Punkt, wo ich
that's the area where I think we have to work before the car gets better. So there's Ari Schatz, and we're ready to go with the feature event of the day. 20 laps here at the Super Touring Car Cup event in Wunstorf. This is Milt Fitzwater reporting. We are under green and ready to go. Let's see if Aiello gets the good jump this time. He had Winkelhock next to him, the rest of the field getting away nicely. Look at that. Winkelhock beat him. Winkelhock beat him into the first corner. So Joachim Winkelhock in the BMW has taken the lead here in Wunstorf. And Laurent Aiello running second. Uwe Alzen is running third. And Thiim is running fourth. Into the first chicane. Everybody got through the first corner all right. Let's see how we make it through this tight chicane. A lot of smoking tires, but no problem so far. And look at that, Joachim Winkelhock, the man who wants the championship, has got himself out in front. Now comes this left-hander. You get a good view of it here. A wide entrance into the corner, and then it narrows down drastically. A short straight. Then comes another left-hander with a bend after that, and it's uphill and basically straight ahead with a slight bend to it, the fastest part of the course here in Wunstorf, Germany. Most of the drivers really do think this is not a bad course for an airport course. You always get mixed feelings about it, but here's that start again. Look at Winkelhock on the right-hand side. There's Aiello in the yellow Peugeot left, and Winkelhock just gets a great start. He beat him off the line, no doubt about it. And he's got a little breathing room here as they come back toward the fans at the start-finish line. Heading up now toward the chicane. We'll bring him in front of the pit crews. And sort of a surprise to everybody that Laurent Aiello in the Peugeot is running second here. Very fast course. Uwe Alzen running third and Thiim running fourth. So everybody pretty much running well here. Cecotto is in that group also. So Joachim Winkelhock, one of the popular drivers in the series, putting on a display for his fans. You're once again with Jorg van Omen in the Peugeot. Jorg had the bad start in the first race, and now he has to continue to battle his way forward here. He is running right now in 7th position. Ahead of him is Christian Menzel in the BMW. And this is Klaus Niedzwit's car, and he's rearranged the front of that one. He evidently went into the guardrail. But we're just going to have to wait and see what happens here. He's going to get out of the car. Looks like he's okay. He has to unplug himself to get out. You're riding with Niedzwitz. He had one of our cameras in the car with him. He goes off. Oh, this is going to be a hard shot against the guardrail. And you can see the pieces flying. So the Audi of Klaus Niedzwitz goes off. What happens, he goes by. It looks like he might have been nudged there by Christian Abt. And Niedzwitz goes into the barrier. Meanwhile, Laurent Aiello is putting the challenge to take the lead on Winkelhock and takes it. And he takes it before the chicane leading to the start-finish line. Laurent Aiello has taken back the lead, a lead he held in the first race all the way through and lost it on the first lap, and now has taken it back. So Joachim Winkelhock led the first lap, but Laurent Aiello in the Peugeot has taken the lead here after 2 laps of racing in Wunstorf, Germany, in the Super Touring Car Cup. Alzen, then comes Kurt Thiim. Basically the same group that we saw before. Then Johnny Cecotto is right behind Kurt Thiim. Both Cecotto and Winkelhock had complained all during the practice sessions that they just did not have the power. Things weren't there. There you see the top 3. And they looked and looked for that power, and they said, well, we're going to have to do the best we can, but I don't think we can stay with the Peugeot. But look at Winkelhock. He's right there with him. He doesn't look like he may have the power to get by, but he's staying right there with him. So they've made up the difference. They may lose it a little bit on the end of the long straight, but they are making up the difference when they're heading through the corners. At least that's the way it seems. Get a look at Johnny Cecotto as he's battling Kurt Thiim as they head out to the fastest part of the course. A couple of years ago, when many of these drivers were in the German Touring Car Championship, they raced this course, but they raced it in the other direction. It's interesting. Some of the drivers like the idea of taking the course the other way, but some don't. And the reason they don't is that hill right there, because when they come up over that hill, it's a blind corner for them. They'd rather be racing down that hill than coming up it. But it's a race course, and it's set this way, and that's the way they're racing today. The man who didn't drive in the German Touring Car Championship, Laurent Aiello, just continues to roll, leading everybody else. So it's up to everybody else to adjust to him. And Menzel went way wide, and Marco Werner in the Honda took advantage of it and came up and passed him. Marco Werner moving up a slot thanks to a mistake by Menzel. Marco Werner, a very young driver, very personable driver, easy to talk to, and very popular with the fans and always signing autographs. Doing a fine job of handling the car here and doing a great job of promotion along with it. You see there Manuel Reuter right behind Menzel. So Reuter trying his best to move up. He's back in 9th place right now. But look at that. Uwe Alzen is right up there, but there's Reuter. You can see him battling. Comes Werner, then comes Menzel, and then comes Reuter. That's the battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th position. There's that narrow exit from a wide approaching corner. Once again, Jörg van Olmen working on Johnny Cecotto. And once again, it doesn't quite work. Or does it? No, not quite. Cecotto is not one of the easier drivers to pass on this course. Very experienced touring car. Former champion. Man, it's a very emotional driver. When he's upset, he's sometimes very difficult to communicate with. And when the car's not running right, as it was this weekend, he was not happy at all. There you get a look at him. Johnny Cecotto from Venezuela. He also drove in the German Touring Car Championship and then moved over and went into these cars when BMW turned to the Super Touring Car event. And Van Olmen got by him. Jörg van Olmen got by Johnny Cecotto. Is Cecotto going to let him? They bumped just a little bit. Jörg van Olmen took advantage of that first corner, cut inside, and has the lead. Now you get a good look at the entrance to the chicane, and then the long straight before that narrow corner. Every driver trying to make the car as wide as possible here, which is difficult on this particular course. Now comes that very precise corner. It may not look like it with the wide entrance, but if you don't take it right, you're going to come out the other end totally wrong. There are your top three. Aiello, Winkelhock, and Alzen. Thiim, Cecotto, and Van Omen. A field of very experienced drivers. Marco Werner, and the rookie, Christian Menzel. And Manuel Reuter running ninth. And the car of Philip Peter, the Audi, is in the pit, changing tires. And it looks like from the side of that door, he's had some contact with other drivers. But here's the problem here. Look at that. The tire just went down. They had to come in and change it. So you have the train that's developing, but the fastest lap belongs to your leader, Aiello. And look at the lead he now has over the second place car, Winkelhock. Then Alzen, then Thiim. And the rest of the field comes through. There's Christian Menzel and his BMW. You see the car of Niedzwitz over there. It's enough out of the way that it doesn't evidently pose any kind of danger. There's a guardrail that kind of bends there. He's probably hidden a little bit behind that. Ali Schatz, the race director for the organization, quite safety conscious, and he will enforce the rules, particularly very heavy when it comes to safety. He just doesn't let that go at all. There you see Marco Werner once again in the Honda, followed by Christian Menzel, and then comes Manuel Reuter. Reuter's driving this race with a small handicap. He has a bandaged knee. He crashed in the very opening moments of the race in the Norris ring and bumped the knee up a little bit. And they've had to put a bandage on it. He's okay to drive, of course. He's driven under worse conditions, but it kind of put him in a little bit of a handicap. Once again, you're riding with Jörg Van Omen, who is now running up behind Thiim. You get to see some of the sequential gearing here. Jörg Van Omen at work here in Wunstorf, Germany, in his Peugeot. He is putting the pressure on Thiim. Thiim has driven a great race for Opel, and he'd like to hold on to that fourth place. The question is he going to be able to? He's got Jörg Van Omen right behind him, and Van Omen wants to get by. If he can pick up the right slipstream, he should be able to do it. Here we go. Let's see what happens when they go into this corner. A lot of folks have been passing right here. Here comes Van Omen. He goes inside, and he isn't going to make it here. At least not this time. Thiim holds him off. Here's how the battle was going on between those two back earlier. Thiim, Jörg Van Omen. Actually, two former German touring car champions battling here in the Super Touring Car Cup on the airport course in Wunstorf, Germany. Kurt goes a little wide, gets his line, cuts off Van Omen, who's gone a little underneath. Let's see what they can do down the fast part of the course here. Actually, you're looking at two of the veterans of European touring car racing. Thiim from Denmark, Jörg Van Omen from Germany. And here comes Van Omen. He's going to be able to make it leading into the long straight. Or is he? No. They bump again. But this time, Van Omen holds on. And there's Thiim looking at the back bumper of Jörg Van Omen. Your top three remain the same. Except here, there's the change. 4th, 5th, and 6th. Marco Werner, Christian Menzel, and Manuel Reuter continue to stay in the top 10. There's a lot of points there if they can get through it. That's Christian Danner, and behind him is Michel Bartels. They're battling back in the pack. The Alfa Romeos, of course, of Christian Danner and his crew, have certainly had their share of problems. They're not really fully factory-backed, and so they have a hard work being competitive with these factory teams. Back up in the pack, there's Marco Werner, and Christian Menzel looks like he may lose a slot here. He does, to Manuel Reuter. Christian Menzel putting on great performances, but also picking up a lot of learning time. Oh, and Marco Werner spins right in front of them, and they get away. Werner takes out some of the barriers. Marco Werner and the Honda have been doing so well, and now there's a problem. Let's see what Menzel can do. He's got Reuter right in front of him, and let's see if Menzel's able to get by Reuter. Boy, this is going to be some battle here. They're running right around the 7th and 8th spot right now, which actually is a great finish for Menzel. Here comes Donner once again. Whoa, he cut that short. He cut that way short to hold off the rest of that pack behind him. There you see Michel Bartels out in front. Here's that spin again by Marco Werner. It's hard to tell. Something might have broken on the car. He might have a tire going down. It didn't look like anybody tapped him coming through there. No, he went off on his own. He made a mistake there. And look at Menzel as he ducked around just to miss Manuel Reuter, who obviously had slowed quite a bit there. Uwe Alzen. Uwe Alzen right now is running in 2nd place. Uwe Alzen has moved into 2nd place ahead of Joachim Winkelhock. So during all that action, we've had a change among the top 3. And now all the Opel fans, and there are a bunch of them out there, have all got their fingers crossed. This would be by far the best finish so far this season for the Opel. And at the hands of Uwe Alzen. He's proving that all the work that's gone into these cars has certainly paid off. And as you heard Volker Stritzek say, they had to rebuild 3 of those cars after the Norris ring. They didn't get as much time as they might have liked to test. But you get a chance to see here that the Opel crew has put together a super car here. He's running 2nd. Joachim Winkelhock in the BMW is running 3rd. Now Winkelhock needs to finish as far up as he can. Laurent Aiello is obviously running away from everybody. He is the point leader already. And Winkelhock needs to finish as far up as he possibly can to get enough points here to stay within striking distance if he wants to. Because Aiello has only had really one bad race this season. And that's about all. He had one did not finish, and that was the feature race at the Norris ring. But when you look at what he's done since then, it's quite amazing. He's been up in the top 5 every other event. Now Uwe Alzen, who's running 2nd here, his season has been more than interesting. His worst finish was 26th, and his best finish has been a 3rd. At the last race of the season, one car's gone through the barriers. The tires smoking here of Emmanuel Pirot as he goes through the barriers at the first chicane. He lost a tire and he's getting off the course. So Emmanuel Pirot continues to have his share of problems and simply not having any luck here, trying to defend his title. And we have the flag for Jörg van Olmen to come in, and here's why they want him in. You can see that back bumper is all loose. They'll bring it in. Now they go to work to tear it off and see if they can get it out, and so he doesn't lose too many positions. Boy, he's had it rough. He qualified 2nd. Got a bad start in the first race, fought his way back up in. Now he's trying to anxiously get back in so he doesn't lose too many positions. He's been running extremely well. He'd gotten up as far as 4th place, but now he's going to drop way back, probably out of the top 10 and have to start from scratch all over again. It's a real shame. Just questioning what we're saying about Uwe Alzen. At the Norris ring, he had a 12th place finish, so his season has been up and down, but he certainly has done exceptionally well for Opel. And everybody can be very pleased with that performance. And today, if he can come in 2nd, boy, they'll be just jumping all over the place. Sascha Monson in the Nissan now has his hands full with Michel Bartels in the Opel. Bartels, also one of those who came into a team that was building, the Opel team, and he's had to grow right along with them. A lot of patience needed when you're going to take that kind of work. There you see Jörg van Olmen trying once again to work his way through. That day glow color Audi right there is right in front of him. That's the one he's going to have to work on first if he can move up at all. He's got to hope that he can. There's Roland Asch coming into your screen right there. Asch driving the Nissan. And it's Chris Nissen in the Audi that is in front of van Olmen. So So Van Omen is going to have to work his way through to see if he can get back up into contention here. And Leopold van Bayern, the prince, his BMW is in the pits. One of the popular figures in touring car racing in Germany. Not that many wins, but certainly a lot of popularity. Here comes Van Omen. He's making the move, and he's going to get by Nissen. Or at least it looks that way from here. Yes, he's by. You know that Jorg is upset. You know that he's had a bad weekend, and he's going to do the best he can. Whoa, and App comes very close as we head down toward the chicane to the start-finish line. It looks like Jorg has held him off, at least until they head to the big left-hander after the long straight here by the start-finish line. He also has got a little bit of distance now between himself and the Audi of Christian Abt. So Jorg Van Omen is on a charge. Whether he's going to be able to do it or not, that of course is the big question. He's just so far back, and the tires have taken a beating here. We were talking about the fact they have the 10 tires. They usually have a couple that you could call qualifying tires they use during qualifying, and then the qualifying tires and 2 others are used for the sprint, leaving them with basically 4 new tires possibly. They can mix it any way you want to, but if you look at it optimistically, that's the way it would be. But no matter what, these long races, the feature race of the weekend, becomes also a tire war. Quite frankly, so far, this tire war is won by Michelin. Dunlop's big guns are the Audi factory cars, and as yet, they haven't quite come up to the victory stand yet, but they keep getting closer. Oddly enough, you see the Abt car here, the day glow color of Nissan, they're running on Yokohamas. And Yokohama only has those 2 cars, the Abt team. Dunlop has a good portion of the field, as does Michelin, but Dunlop's big team is the Audi factory quartet. They certainly have not had their share of any kind of breaks here today in Wunstorf. Camera staying on Van Omen, knowing that the man wants to charge. But whether he's going to be able to do it or not, well, that's another whole question. He's running way back in what is right now 13th position. There you see one of the private Alfa Romeos of Engsler. These folks have certainly had a tough time, and this flat tire is not going to help him out whatsoever. It's an independent Alfa Romeo team, and the main Alfa Romeo team has not got full support, so you can imagine how difficult it is for the independent group. And the Nissan is pulling over and letting Van Omen by. Roland Asch has let Jorg Van Omen get by him. 2 veterans. And Asch is not in the championship drive. Van Omen is. They are not teammates of any kind, but he did the gentlemanly thing here. There's Alfred Hager behind the leading 2 cars. He's in his Honda. And then comes Chris Nissen in the Abt Audi. Your leader remains Laurent Aiello. He has led every lap but 1 today here in Wunstorf so far. An amazing challenge. Welcome Winkelhock, who had settled into 2nd place for the first 8 laps, is now back into 3rd place. Uwe Alzen took over 2nd place in lap 9, and he's been holding on to that position. While all the Opel fans cross their fingers that he can stay there. Once again, you look at Alfred Hager in the Honda. The Honda team has had some success, thanks to Marco Werner in particular. He's qualified well a couple of times, but then he's just had his share of problems. There you see Christian Abt. In fact, one time he finished very well, but then the car was found to be too light. That was at the Nürburgring, and he lost the positions. And there's your leader. As you can see, he has a tremendous lead here. He's up to 7 seconds plus. 8 seconds now, look at that. Laurent Aiello in the Peugeot, the dominant force in the Super Touring Car Cup 1997. Aiello has quite a record. He won the races in the opening part of the season at Hockenheim. He finished third twice in Zolder. Then he came back and won both races at the Nürburgring. Then at the Sachsenring, he finished second twice behind Winkelhock. He finished second in the first race at the Norrisring and then fell way back and out of the feature race at the Norrisring. So he's only had that one did not finish so far this season. The only man that really has been challenging him up until now has been Joachim Winkelhock, who has won 4 in a row coming into today, but he lost the first race, of course. He won the 2 at the Sachsenring and 2 at the Norrisring, but right now he's going to settle for third place. And there's your second place driver, Uwe Alzen. Now he is going to quickly become the hero for Opel if he can bring this one home. He's had a super weekend. And there's Joachim Winkelhock. But he's way behind this man, Laurent Aiello. Aiello brings his family to every race. His wife is in the pits for every event. They have someone to take care of the baby. But he just definitely says without the family he doesn't feel quite right on the weekend, and he has the family there all the time. And if that's any kind of example, everybody better start bringing the family the way he's dominating things here. I don't know if the pits could handle all those people, but anyway, Laurent Aiello here in Wunstorf, the force to reckon with, down into the fastest part of the course, up over 140 some odd miles an hour before they make the left-hander and head back down once again in front of the fans. One set of grandstands here and then another set of grandstands just past the pit area. Into the chicane, and you can see the distance is immense between himself and Uwe Alzen. Then again, Alzen probably does not want to push that hard. He wants to keep hold of that second place, and if something goes wrong, it won't, because Laurent Aiello comes home your winner here in Wunstorf in the feature race. Laurent Aiello, tough to beat anywhere. There are your top 10. Look at the Opels. 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 9th. Amazing. The man of the day, Laurent Aiello. Now, he made some changes in the car between races, and it obviously worked.
As I told you, on the left corner, I had a big understeer. So we changed the car, and that was much better for the second race. But I don't know why, but the car on the first lap wasn't too good. It takes a few laps for the car to set up. Comes better and better, and then it was okay. And also it was difficult for the start. I made a good start, but the BMW is so good on start, so I can't do anything about it.
And this is the car that everyone's going to have to contend with, the car of Uwe Alzen that came in second here in Wunstorf. And actually for Alzen, this was more than he and Opel could ever have hoped for.
In the beginning of the weekend, we thought that in the free practice are very fast, and a third place or fourth place was absolutely okay. The second place is absolutely dream for me, and I think it's a good result for Opel. 4 cars under the top 10, and I think we are a step in front, and it's okay.
I think you can see I am the happiest man at the world at the moment. It was a fantastic race for us. You saw the sprint, we finished in the 3rd position, and in the final race we finished in the 2nd, in the 4th, in the 6th and in the 9th position. That is really, really great.
And as far as BMW fans are concerned, well, they had to settle for Joachim Winkelhock in 3rd place. Now normally some people would say that's bad, but not Joachim.
I'm really happy with this result. The result was much better than we expect, because in the practice we had really a lot of problems in both cars, me and Johnny Cecotto, with the engine, and we don't know why, we don't know the reason, because every free practice and qualifying we lost some revs in the top speed, and we don't know the reason at the moment. So really we didn't expect to be in both races in the top 3. So finally we are really happy with the result.
Next up on the tour, another airport course, this time in Zweibrücken, Germany. Another challenge ahead for the Super Touring Car Cup. And that does it for our coverage of the Super Touring Car Cup in Wunstorf. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Milt Fitzwater reporting. Hope to see you in Zweibrücken.